Alright, so we've gone through Stray, we finished the entire game, found all the memories, and I enjoyed the game so much that I was maybe thinking about it a little bit too much, and I came up with a theory. Probably more conspiracy theory than, anything legitimate, but a thought had occurred to me that Neko, whatever you want to call it, but that corporation that maybe had a hand in the building of the city? What if they were the ones responsible for uploading humanity into the companions, and it wasn't just, something that the humans had decided to do to save themselves, but that it was something that the corporation had encouraged, so then that way they could have more efficient workers and could take the resources and supplies from City 99 and give them to the other cities that exist. So let me go through my points, and if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, then please, in the comments, let me know. Let's have a conversation about this. So my first point is City 99. Let's assume for a moment that that wasn't just a naming convention and that there are at least 98 more cities that exist in the world. There may be more, but there may be less. But let's just assume for a moment that it's at least 98 other cities. And there's a theory that, 7 million years have passed in the game. But what is it that determines that time? Because they can't go outside to see, the passage of the sun and the moon. All they have is their clocks. Are those clocks even accurate? Has it really been that long since, they first uploaded themselves? It could only be a few hundred years. Just to, make them think that it's been so long. So you might be wondering, it's like, okay, so if the corporation did that, they would have to have some reason to encourage people to upload themselves. And you're right, they would need to have something to encourage the people in that city to upload themselves into the companions to save themselves. And then that's where the plague comes in. They had the ability and the technology to edit and rewrite programming for microorganisms so then they would do specific tasks. So if they had the knowledge to make the Zerk to eat trash, what's to say that they couldn't create a virus or some sort of disease that targeted specific individuals in the community that they thought were less efficient workers? So they created the plague. Let's say that they did create the plague. Neko Corp created the plague. Who would it have targeted? It would have targeted children, it would have targeted the elderly, and we know that, people's brain chemistries at different ages are different. Now, I will admit there were probably some children and some elderly that did get uploaded into companions because, there were probably only so many companions in the city, so Neko Corp decided to create a lottery. If you were, in the lottery, then you'd be uploaded into one of the companions. So they could also rig that lottery, so then, it picked less children, it picked less elderly. But there are a few characters in the game that seem to have childlike personalities or are treated like children, and there's also at least one that seems elderly. So, uploading into the companions. Why do I believe that it was something that Neko Corp probably did? Because we have at least 2 of the devices in the game for that specific purpose. There was the first one in the flat where you found B12, and then there was the second one in Ant Village. Why would you need multiple devices if there wasn't a need and an urgency to kind of do this? And once everyone had been uploaded into the companions, they could just dispose of those devices because they wouldn't be needed anymore, because you just want one city to be city of workers that, you don't necessarily have to feed, so then you could just get rid of those devices once everyone had finished uploading. Now, some people might say that, the companions aren't humans, but they have very human-like characteristics, and they have very human-like drives. And we know from B12, like, once you get uploaded into the network and once you get uploaded into a companion or a drone or something of that nature, memories get lost. So it's possible that the companions don't remember being human, but because they have those underlying human drives, that's why the companions in the city have names. That's why they, have jobs besides just working at the NecoCorp factory. You have the musicians, you have the cooks. Even though they don't need food, they still have people that are wanting to be cooks. And whenever you look at the companions that are in the control room compared to the companions that are in the city, the companions in the control room, they don't have any of the other features that the companions in the cities have, because the people in charge of NecoCorp and in the control room wouldn't have needed those companions. They would still need those companions to help them with their day-to-day work up there. So they didn't need human consciousnesses to be uploaded to them. Also, the companions, once the humans got uploaded, they eventually created their own language. And humans have, for centuries and centuries and centuries, have used words and pictures and symbols to communicate with each other, and they would want to separate just, communicating via the network, which they were probably all connected to, move to something that's more like written language based, so then that way they could keep some thoughts more private. Because if you're connected to the bigger network, any thought that you have, well, the Sentinels could monitor that, and if you were having some certain thoughts like, oh, we want to go outside because, what's happening to people is wrong, like the Outsiders did. All the Outsider companions wanted to go outside because they knew that, what NecoCorp was doing was wrong. So it's possible that the Outsiders were humans that learned what NecoCorp was doing, and they wanted to make sure that, they uploaded themselves, whether in secret or got chosen for the lottery, because that way they could make sure that, humans got back outside, that they didn't lose their humanity because of what NecoCorp did. And NecoCorp could theoretically alter all of the memories of the companions once the human consciousness had been uploaded into them, so then that way they don't have a desire to go outside. So the Outsiders would have had to have done this secretly, because again, you find them in the slums. The slum companions don't have any idea or concept of the outside. They think it's just a story. That story that, NecoCorp was like, yeah, we'll just alter this so then it's a story in their minds, not something that actually happened and existed. And the Outsiders, in secret uploaded themselves, so then that way they could continue to try and get people back outside, away from NecoCorp trying to take advantage of them, which is why you had the uploading device in a secret lab in the flat. That was B12's home, and he chose to upload himself last because he might have been one of the people that knew how to operate these machines, knew how to fix these machines. Like, B12 might have been basically a spy or a secret agent for the Outsiders in NecoCorp, so then that way he could, help his friends accomplish the goal of getting outside and getting away from NecoCorp and not having to rely on it anymore. And it might be that something, because we know B12, his upload didn't succeed, they might have been using decommissioned companions that, NecoCorp thought were faulty and weren't going to hold memories very well, or, there was just something wrong with those companions, so they chose to go through and rebuild these decommissioned companions, so then that way they could upload them but that means that there was a high chance of failure too. So the question is, like, why? Why do all of this stuff? So if there are more than just one city, which we're assuming because this is City 99, the other cities just had as many, limited resources as City 99 did. But if you could, remove the biological aspect of the humans from City 99, then those resources that those humans would need biologically to survive, you could ship those off to one of the other cities that, needs the resources more. And, your first few cities would have been built, those would have been the test cities, working out all the kinks, all the, middle stuff that, you want to get. It just needs to work properly and figure out how it works properly. And then, your middle cities, like cities 40 to 80, those would have been, the luxury cities, the cities that, they knew exactly how to build them, they knew exactly what they needed to do to make sure that they functioned forever. And so everything else was just, nuances. It was, nice things that they chose to put in those cities to make them more appealing to, like, upper echelon. And then cities like 90 to 99, those could have just been factory cities to make sure that, all the other cities got, if something broke in, say, City 68, they could, have something made in one of the other cities and then brought back over. So then that way, the upper echelon in these middle cities never didn't have things that they wanted. And so, you're like, okay, but how did they get all these resources to these other cities? Well, they built these underground cities. What's to say that they didn't have giant railroad systems? Like, if this is supposed to be hundreds of years from technically all time, there's no reason to think that, they couldn't have created underground passages so then that way cities could be interconnected. And then you just created Berserk to keep people out from those sewer systems that connected to all the other cities, and just, the other cities knew about UV light to keep the Zerk away and continued to develop, like, antimicrobial components and compounds that, would keep the Zerk at bay. And then the other humans that existed could live in these other cities very comfortably while still remembering the disaster that drove them into the cities. But they could still have resources brought into them from, City 99, because no one needed resources there technically anymore. They just needed electricity. And if you have enough water, you can do that. So just kind of, all the mucky water from other cities get pulled into that city, so then that way it can be filtered out by the companions there that are humans. And you wanted to upload the humans because, yes, you could program the companions to do the work, but if something unexpected happened, they couldn't do anything outside of their programming to try and fix the issues. But humans, when presented with a problem, we are very, very, very good at adapting. And if there is a sudden problem, even if we have no idea how to fix it because it's not a part of our normal training, we can go through and find a solution to that problem just through trial and error or educated guesses. We are very, very good at adapting and surviving. So let's say that, it was 7 million years into the future, and it's possible that, all the humans aren't gone. They're just choosing to stay in the cities because the cities are safe. They have all the resources and all of the, accoutrements they could ever want and need. So what's the point to go outside? So nature took back over, and the animals that were left behind started to evolve and become, smarter creatures anyways. It's also possible that, Necocorp is forcing humans to also stay in the other cities because they realize that, they can control people there and they can control resources that people get. So then, they don't have to worry about competitors in, like, the real world because, you have 15 people that are farming to help maintain a community. Well, one farmer decides to undersell the others, so then that way he gets more money and can do more stuff. So yeah, there's that's kind of my crazy ramblings and thoughts on why I think Necocorp might have created the plague to justify saving people in City 99 by having them upload themselves into the companions, but limiting, who they can save because there's only so many companions, and then leaving that city locked up with just companions that have human minds now, so then that way they can make products that the other cities need and they don't have to worry about feeding those people anymore. So yeah, it's really dark and kind of sad when you think about it, but that's kind of my thoughts at this point in time, that Necocorp might have had a hand in putting all the humans in the companions, that it might not have been a matter of desperation on the humans' part, other than it was something fabricated by Necocorp. Let me know, again, if you think I'm just crazy ramblings, or if you think there might be some truth to that. I really do hope that they make a second game, and maybe we'll find out some answers. Was the plague, created by Necocorp to force humans into the companions, so then that way those in the upper echelon could have more access to resources, or send them out to other cities? And if they make a second game, let's hope that it maybe has multiplayer mode, so then that way you can play around as some of Stray's other friends. That would be awesome. But yeah, I love you all. I hope you have a great day, and be safe. Bye.